On today's episode of the EduTech Guys, we talk about artificial intelligence, AI, all that and much more up next on the EduTech Guys.
You're listening to the EduTech Guys, EduTechGuys.com. Hello and welcome to EduTech Guys. I'm David Henderson.
Hey, I'm Jeff Madlock.
Yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, turning on, downloading, grabbing the episode, all that good stuff wherever you happen to be.
The good stuff. Hey, don't forget to check us out on the web, just edutechguys.com, or heck, just go to Google, type in EduTech Guys, or go to an AI-powered site and type in, hey, two middle-aged dudes talking about educational technology with microphones on the web. Maybe we'll come up. It's possible.
That would actually be hilarious.
And it would go, yes, we found these losers. And
that's right. I would be curious about the reverse of that. If you typed in, tell me about the EduTech Guys into AI, which I need to do. Oh, man, I wish we had an AI prompt right here. That would be hilarious to see what it would come back with.
Yeah, we are. In fact, truth is, this isn't David or Jeff. We just typed in, make a podcast with two idiots talking about educational technology, attempting to be funny about AI.
And this is what you get.
So really, check us out on the web and check us on social media. You can find us, EduTech Guys, EduTechGuys. We're out there looking back at you everywhere. And yes, it's funny, AI's everywhere. 3 years ago, it was, and 10 years ago, it was like, I saw that thing with Tom Selleck and Gene Simmons from KISS, but, the robits.
The robits.
Yeah.
An iRobot with Will Smith.
And all that good stuff, but now it's, it make me a picture, which if you're out on the web and you go to Twitter, the graphic that is in the top of our Twitter header and will be out here on social media.
X,
sorry. The artist formerly known as Twitter.
That's right.
X. Yeah. So Malcolm X, the Twitter guy, I wonder if so Malcolm X, do you think his there was a squirrel one. I wonder if Malcolm X's family's, because they didn't copyright X or anything like that, did they?
I don't think.
Anyway, if you're out there, the graphic that is on Twitter right now, X, sorry, old dog, can't think. Woof, Twitter. If you check out that graphic and one that's out there, it's David and I's Peanuts characters, and that was actually created using Bing's AI graphic generator. So if you're looking for some fun, log into Bing. There you go, Microsoft. Little punch to Microsoft there. We'll expect the check. Make it out to Jeff and David at EduTech Guys. No, so listen, Bing has a really cool generative thing out there. So if you want to see something cool, that we've got that out there. So I don't know. We've been talking about AI today. A keynote for FETC this year is an author who has the ultimate AI classroom book out. So, that kind of stuff. And so we'll see how that goes. If we're keynoting about AI now, a lot of folks are talking about AI can grade your papers, and AI can mop your floors, and it can feed your children, and there's all this kind of neat AI stuff out there.
I'm very curious as to what an ultimate guide, and I'm not trying to knock the guy. I'm
sure.
not, but by the same token, this is a little bit of a dig just because, and he's not on the show, and maybe we'll get him on the show.
We don't know him, so yes.
Maybe after this,
we do not mean to hurt your feelings.
But no, my curiosity is how you call, frankly, anything in the last, I'm just going to say 30 years at this point. How do you call it? How do you call anything in print ultimate?
Yeah, I've got the ultimate fake book, and it's missing several Pat Metheny charts in it. So how can that be ultimate?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's a little presumptuous, if you will. But I will say, we kind of looked through some of the write-up about it, the little Amazon deal that it has there, and it's got some prompts that you can use. It's got some activities.
It's got some UTIs or UDLs? UDLs.
Not UTIs.
Sorry. I don't know.
That's a whole different book.
The acronyms really confuse me. But, I give them this. If you get that ultimate in there now, nobody else is going to take it.
That's true.
We can't use ultimate. They've already got the ultimate guide.
We'll
just be copying, and we'll look like we're trying to, one-up them on this one. And so Oh, I almost went into my Joe voice from the Family Guy. I want to one-up him one time. You're going to do that. I can't do Joe from the Family Guy. But, yeah, but, you know, AI is, I don't know. I mean, you know, I was saying earlier, a lot of our educators still have a hard time of asking the right questions in Google to get the right answers.
Yeah, let alone trying to, you know, and I appreciate that, yeah, there's a resource out there and they've got these prompts, but even those prompts are probably quickly dated.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and so it's really interesting. I can tell you by creating those graphics, you know, in Bing, you know, it's a paragraph. And and I got like 20 graphics that I couldn't use until I got the exact, you know, request in text correctly. And just being obnoxiously me as a tech coordinator for all these years, my tech requests, you know, from educators still come in computer broke, you know, all lowercase with no punctuation. So, I mean, that's not going to work in AI, you know, or math lesson. That, you know,
yeah, exactly. And one of my favorites are the ones that come in and just say, student can't log in, or they can't do something. You know, okay, I'm going to need a little bit more information.
And yes, we even have fields that say student's name and ID, but yet those are blank.
Yes.
You know.
So, but you know, one of the things that you kind of touched on in designing the Peanuts themed header that we've got is how many times you had to revise your prompt in order to get it to, well, close to what you wanted, but even then, you still had to go back in and manually do some graphic editing to get the exact style that you wanted.
Right. I truly believe that's the biggest deal. And now I've taken on this new stance to my job is it's all my fault. You know, I was talking to an educator the other day, and they said, "Oh, I didn't know you can do that, and that's my bad." Well, no, it's not. No one ever trained you how to use a MacBook. You know, we never set you down and went, "Hey, here's a MacBook Air, and here's how you know, give permissions for the shared key and credentials." You know, we never told you about that stuff. So I will take responsibility for that. But, you know, but sarcastically, that's also, I truly believe nowadays, most humans, I have to say, okay, wake up, wash your face, go to the bathroom, brush your teeth, put your clothes on. And we have to step by step most of these people. And if AI is going to come into play in the classroom, then that's great. I can sit down as one educator and go, okay, I need 52 lessons on algebra that starts here and goes through here, and make my 5 paragraphs, and it creates that. And I can do the same thing for English, and I can do, you know, for 9th grade, and it meets UDL, and it does this stuff, and it's, you know, blah, blah, blah. I get all my stuff built, and that's just me. I don't need 12 teachers anymore. And then I use my, you know, camera in the classroom. The students are on computers that is got something like GoGuardian or any of those applications that is AI driven, and I tell it, monitor these students and make sure they only do these things and these things and these things and these things and these things while they're in this class. And my camera's watching them. It's AI driven, and you'll watch for anybody to get out of their seat or, you know, attempt to talk to anyone else or not do their work that they're doing. That's either in a classroom or even remotely. So I can replace 4 or 5 teachers in 4 or 5 years with one person, or maybe even more, or maybe just AI.
Right. Well,
because you're here to do one thing. So,
you know, along similar lines, I know when my daughter just graduated this past spring from college, and during several of her classes where they were taking tests via, you know, her laptop and had the camera going, they've got software that watches your eyes, so that if your eyes stray beyond the kind of the screen, if you will, then you're flagged for cheating.
Lasers burn your eyes out.
I mean, really, it's so a little flag goes up and student potentially cheating. What, because I look around? I mean, no,
jump.
Yeah, I mean, it's so crazy to me.
That is crazy.
And then you've got the implementation of AI in the classroom, and I'm going to assume that there are some teachers out there who are doing amazing, wonderful things with AI. And if you are one of those listening to this, let us know.
Oh, yeah.
Because we want to talk to you. We'd love to hear some more, because one of my biggest issues with AI is the fact that there is a lot of bad information in the AI scope of knowledge. GPT, whatever the letters are, GTO, in itself, among other, AI generative chat type environments, it's already got bad information. But on top of that, as we have seen, perhaps you've seen, I have seen demonstrated how adamant the AI gets when you attempt to correct it and say, no, that is not the correct response. That's not the factual information. This is the factual information. And it just basically doubles down and is like, no, you're wrong. And let me show you with even more incorrect information why you're wrong.
It's funny. And just so you know, we're not anti-AI. This is just, we're just talking about some of the things we worry and concern us about AI, because there's a lot of great things going on with AI. But I liken it to being a string player. I liken it to, and if you want to think about furniture, you want to think about handcrafted things. Now, I can buy some furniture at Target that's great furniture, and it's made in a factory in China or Korea or even in the U.S. or Mexico, and it's thrown together, and they make 400 couches every 22 minutes, or whatever it is. Or I can go down and buy one that's handcrafted by someone who's put the time into it. It has its imperfections because that's real and it's handcrafted. I believe that's what education is. Now, it's interesting, back in Stradivarius's time, they had to cut the wood and put it together and cut it by hand, and everything was done by hand. And now, they still build it by hand, and they do a lot of the shaving and all that kind of stuff, but they might go ahead and use an electric table saw or something to, get them a little farther on the process. We've modernized the tools for it. But that's where I look at education and think that AI is great, and it's a super tool. And so many folks have shown us how, in education right now, how to use it as a tool. But the handcrafted part of it, that's where the human experience comes in. And that's the fun part of, yes, I made a cool graphic, and I had to handcraft the exact thing I wanted. And then I'll tell you the truth, I had to take that graphic, put it into Pixel Maker, and redraw some things with my Apple Pencil and touch up some things and clone some things. And I had to make it handcrafted after that to get exactly what I needed to create what I want to create. And that's where I see, just like technology, just like the calculator in the classroom, just like the overhead projector, this is where the teacher comes into play, and that's the need for the human experience with AI, is the handcrafted part of education. Because we see some companies out there doing some amazing things with AI, and if you'll notice, it's to help us as educators do our job better. Like, let us get you this data and understand it better. Let us follow Jeff's reading better so he knows what's going on. And I believe that's where the AI comes into hand. That's just my opinion. So. Gee, Jeff, what do you really think? That's how.
Well, and as with any up and coming technology that we have seen in the past, I can only assume AI will be the same in that that things. I don't want to say the word better, but things will improve in terms of the responses that you get out of it, in terms of the application of what you can do with it, in terms of how teachers use it, how students use it, how post-secondary education uses AI, and then where it ends up in the business world in terms of being used. I mean, and we've already seen some of that. You've probably experienced some of that if you're out there listening, and you see the little, chat with us now, and you start typing something in, and the responses that you get are like not quite, they're not quite human, but they're almost human. You're kind of like, am I talking to a person? Am I not? Right. Now, some of them are really, they've not advanced to that at all, and for a fact you're talking to a wall.
Let me connect you to an operator.
Yes, exactly. But some of those AI help systems are pretty good, and in my experience, they are as good as the information that it has been fed. So as long as the information is good information, and this goes all the way back to the very beginnings of computing and everything, right? Garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah,
it's the same thing with AI.
Well, this brings us to exactly the syntax of the whole thing. And, what's really interesting about this is that I have been it's been on my brain and my drives to work and, after PUBG, sitting on the couch thinking 3 hours about this kind of stuff. I'm just more playing PUBG for 3 hours and thinking about this 20 minutes. Anyway, let's not talk about Jeff and his problems. What's really interesting about it is we are back to students need to know how to read and write and comprehend. And this, if we're going to teach AI, if we're going to use AI and we're going to teach children to work in the future, the coming, workplace using AI in their jobs, then they've got to get it right the first time. There's no, well, I'm going to make 5 graphics or 10 graphics before AI gets it right. I'm going to do this surgery, and hopefully by the third time I tell it what to do, it's going to get it exactly right. But Jeff, it's not going to get that crazy. Well, no, it's not. But the programmer who does that, we're now back to, so reading and writing and comprehension and mathematics are a really big deal. Yeah, they are. They are. So you mean the basis of what we talk about in education is, we're right back to it. And in fact, even more so now. I mean, because of AI, you need to write that, it's time to take a test. You're going to write there's 12 questions, and you're going to write an AI specific, question / need for each one of the solve. How do you solve this problem using AI? And here's the problem. So, wow. I mean, think about that kind of test. This isn't just, the ACT where it's, you've got blah, blah, and blah, blah, and what's the answer? Well, no, now you've got blah, blah, and blah, blah, and blah, blah, and the robot in the field has to do this, this, and this, or the AI has to do this. Write the syntax for that. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
And you got to get it right the first time. So this is back to, I think one of the greatest workshops that I can provide at this point for my educators would be called From Google to AI. And, it grows with the way AI is growing, it grows every 36 hours. I have to have the workshop every 36 hours at that point. But, if you can get to where you know exactly what to ask Google, like I've got this problem, and a lot of us have been doing it so long, we know, I can just ask this question, and 9 times out of 10, it's going to be the very first thing, because its AI has been doing its thing for some time.
Well, by the same token, though, usually when you go to a really any search engine that's out there and you type in your search, and the first 2, 3, 4, 10 things are all these sponsored ads that may or may not be related. I think that ultimately is where we really got to help students and adults. You're talking about doing PD for teachers.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Is that whole discernment. It's being able to look at the results. Take the results that AI is giving you, take the results that Google is giving you, and be able to look at that and say, this is a good, this appears to be a good result. This appears to be a good result. This is way out there in left field. And I think that's the skill that is not only the most critical, but is also the one that is the most lacking. I know, and I'm not, this is going to sound like I'm knocking my wife. I'm not knocking my wife, but whenever
Lord, I hope not.
Whenever
man.
whenever she's got something that she wants to find, and if she expresses it to me, then I'll search for it and she'll search for it and I'll find an answer, and she is still either searching or she's clicked on something that really has nothing to do with it. And she's like, I don't understand how you're able to find the right thing, and and she said, and I'm over here in La La Land. And so that's one of the things that we've been working through is you've got to build that discernment. And part of that to me is I rarely trust anything I see in a search result. So I'm looking, deeper into the snippet. I'm checking out that URL. It's the same thing with AI. I'm not going to take at face value what AI has to give me.
Right.
So that may mean that I have to then turn around and research the AI results. But I think that's really one of the biggest skills that we can give people is say, hey, and teach people, hey, this is how you become a critical recipient, a critical viewer of the information that you're getting back based on what you're saying. And then the extension of what you were talking about earlier is also, how do I phrase things so that I get the right response? From my experience, one of the biggest issues people have is they type in a paragraph to ask the question. It doesn't work that way. It is getting a little better in that it can pull out those keywords, but you got to take out the extra words that you don't actually need
and it's
to
the
get
training.
the result.
I mean, we're back to
the training.
And I'm dead serious. I mean, seriously, I really think if you're listening to this and you're an instructional facilitator or you're someone that provides training PD for your district, that's the kind of training we need. We need to start working on, learning to use Google search and then learning to write those AI, commands, the syntax for it. And I mean, it's no different than, we have an award-winning pianist and me. We both have a piano, but who's going to play it better?
Right.
That's just it. We got the same thing. It's just how we apply it. And, in the case of your wife and my wife or anyone else you and I deal with, we've done this a lot longer and we've done it more. So we're, not that we're pros at it. We just have been doing it for a long time.
Right.
So, yes, we are pros at it. No, so,
that's
hey, but the good takeaway of this is, and to go back all the way to the top, talking about the book, the Ultimate Classroom, AI book, the real best, the best part about all this is that educators are making concerted effort to give this the attention that it needs. Mm-hmm. So kudos to those people. Kudos to that gentleman. Kudos to the teachers and the educators writing about it, because they realize, okay, this is important. We have to do something about it. We have to start getting them ready to use this. Kudos to them. So this isn't an AI bash by any means, because you can tell what I've done with it, I think it's really cool, and I think it's going to change a lot of interesting things. We just have to watch it.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
I don't need any iRobot or any Terminator stuff going on. So there is that. Hey, listen, we hope you enjoyed the show. Really, we say this all the time, but if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, please reach out to us. Info@EduTechGuys.com. You can just write us there, or contact@EduTechGuys.com. Those two places, or write either one of us, Jeff or David, at EduTechGuys.com.
There you go.
I got that.
You okay?
Hold on. I was trying to write that into an AI request.
I was going to say.
It took me a minute. Hey, listen, we hope you enjoyed this show. We'll be back soon with more. And the next conference we are at is FETC in Orlando in January.
Yeah.
Hope to see you there. Yeah, it'd be really cool. Hey, listen, I'm Jeff Madlock.
I'm David Henderson.
We'll catch you next time.
You've been listening to the EduTech Guys. EduTechGuys.com.